Hey, I have school tomorrow, even though the wildfires are still going on, but I guess we are still going to school because education is important. What's up, is a culture detective here investigating your favorite movies, and today I'm going to be doing a review on a film I saw last night, and that film is Conclave by Edward Berger. So, Conclave is a new film from German director Edward Berger. It is based off of a novel of the same name, and a lot of people have been talking about this film. A lot of memes have been generated from this film. Now, to give you a little background, Edward Berger actually directed All Quiet on the Western Front remake about 2 years ago, or the film is released 2 years ago. And yes, it is a remake. The original film is American, which is then based off of a German novel. But, anyways, the German version of All Quiet on the Western Front was a pretty pleasant surprise, or unpleasant, should I say, because it is a tragic war film. That being said, though, there isn't anything inherently creative or bold or ambitious about his remake of All Quiet on the Western Front, other than the fact that it is ultra dramatic, ultra cinematic, gory, and harsh. Now, we have a new film, Conclave, and it is a huge, huge departure from German World War II war film. Conclave is a political drama, but it's not about politicians, more so it is about cardinals and popes. It is about an election of the next pope after the former pope has passed away, and the election is called a conclave. And it is very much about that. But even so, I think for Edward Berger, these two films are the same films. Both All Quiet on the Western Front and Conclave are also war films for Edward Berger, because when you watch Conclave, you get the same 2.39 to 1 aspect ratio widescreen. You get the same dramatic close ups, you get the same big, bold, wide shots that sort of splash at your face. It is extremely dramatic. So, I think that is my first complaint with Conclave, and that is it's too freaking dramatic. The film is actually kind of the story is supposed to be kind of playful and lighthearted, even if the subject matter it's dealing with is very serious. I do think that a bunch of cardinals gossiping with one another in long robes while being Catholic is actually hilarious in its core. And I really wish Edward Berger had made the film more lighthearted and fun, because it's better that way. When you're too serious, people tend to take you less seriously. Now, that being said, though, I would like to say that the subject matter is really interesting. I am not Catholic. I do not know much about Catholicism aside from what I already know from Protestant Christianity. But seeing a cardinal hit a vape is freaking hilarious, and it's truly some of the best moments of the entire film. Now, the production design is good, but it's easily good. So by that I mean, when you see good production design in a film, A, it's believable, B, it is visually appealing. Now, the production design of this film is visually appealing, but that's mainly because of the Catholic iconography and the Catholic tradition. So, red robes, golden crosses, white marble. A lot of these things are on screen constantly, and they are beautiful to look at. But does that mean the production design is necessarily creative and rich? Not really. It is easily beautiful because the script calls for it. Aside from that, the production design didn't really blow my mind or anything. And nothing else about this film is visually playful as well. I have a friend who complained that Edward Berger does not have an authorial voice at all. He is not an auteur. And by that, he means, and I agree as well, that his film, his visual style, is not too different from your other average, safe, conventional Hollywood mid budget visual style. There's nothing inherently interesting about his visual style. You can't really hear or see Edward Berger's voice in his films, aside from big, bold, symmetrical shots, which seems like are the only types of cool shots that Edward Berger has going for him. Now let's talk about the performances a little bit. Ray Fiennes is awesome. Ray Fiennes is really good in anything he's in. I think his performance in this film was okay, serviceable at best. He is constantly very stern and solemn in this film, which I understand. It's his character. Aside from one teary-eyed breakdown in the middle of the film, I don't think Ray Fiennes' performance really blew me away. What blew me away, however, is Sergio Castellito's performance as Cardinal Tedesco, as well as Carlos Diaz, who makes his acting debut as Cardinal Benitez. And both of them are shining stars in this film. Like, right off the bat, I already like Benitez's character. And of course, every time Cardinal Tedesco is on screen, it's usually mayhem and chaos. The other complaints I have with this film is that the story is pretty much formulaic. At some point, the story hits a formula and it does the same thing again and again and again. A cardinal, by the way, if I hadn't emphasized this, a cardinal is the position under the Pope. So it's the second highest position in the Catholic Church. So a cardinal is doing well, a lot of people are voting for him, and then suddenly something uncovers, something happens, psych, he's not doing so well anymore. Rinse, wash, repeat, rinse, wash, repeat. Instead, the characters don't actually engage all that much. It's always Ray Fiennes' character, Lawrence, going to different people and uncovering dirt from these cardinals. And other characters don't really do anything, actually. They don't engage that much. So the story gets pretty plain pretty fast. Stanley Tucci's character just sits around and gets angry, and Isabella Rossellini's character, Sister Agnes, has unclear motivations. Like, why did she suddenly decide to help Ray Fiennes to fight against Cardinal Tremblay? Like, what is her motivation aside from avenging that poor African girl? And yeah, it's the whole thing is very unclear. But I think the worst thing about this film is actually the score. I think it is absolutely obnoxious. I have no idea why the guy won an Oscar. He does not deserve an Oscar. I think especially this film, the only thing the entire score has is dramatic strings. The opening scene, or the first scene in the film, when the former pope has died, somebody says, "He is with God now." Bam! Dramatic strings. And the entire film is just nothing but dramatic strings. It's like the freaking water phone in Kitchen Nightmares. It's almost like a meme at this point. So yeah, it makes the film tonally one note, literally. And also, when the score takes itself so seriously, the whole film feels less serious now. But this entire review feels really negative, and I get it, but I have to admit, it is a fun movie. It is an entertaining movie if you want to switch your brain off and watch a bunch of cardinals gossip with one another and uncovering dirt on each other, and it's also a pretty compelling political thriller. This film would be a fun one, but for me, I do think that a lot of parts of this film is quite lacking. I am going to give Conclave a strong 6 to a light 7 out of 10. So, have you watched Conclave? Comments below, let me know, subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.